Welcome to Spanish. We're two expats, one from Norway, one from the US, sharing our experiences of living in Spain. Whether you're thinking about moving here, already living abroad, or just curious about Spanish culture, we got inside stories and tips for you. Subscribe, share, comment, and like this if you love your mom. That caught me by surprise. I haven't noticed you added that last part.
That went exactly how I wanted it to.
How is it going, Mal? How's your week going?
It's going well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I have an abundance of work. I'm kind of pushing my limits, but the spirit is going strong. The sun is shining as well. My dog is currently sunbathing in some sun rays on my couch. And yeah, we're just vibing, recording here from my living room.
Great, yeah. Do you have any Spanish updates from the last week?
I bought a secondhand bike this Easter via the app Wallapop, about 40 minutes from Alicante in a small town called Almoradi. I called her when I was outside. She came outside and we just started chit-chatting. I looked at the bikes and everything went well. Afterwards, it occurred to me that I didn't stress about the language at all. Not to say that I have a flawless Spanish, far from it, but I wasn't stressed about it. I was just chill. It was like, I will understand what she's saying and she will understand what I'm saying. And if not, we'll figure it out. And I was just calm. And it was such a nice feeling, you know? I think my end goal would be to have the same feeling when calling customer service in Spanish. That is like...
Good luck. I don't see that happening, at least for me, anytime soon. The phone is the worst.
Well, do you feel the same in English, or is it just the language barrier?
Talking to customer service?
Yeah.
Now that I'm in Spain and having to sometimes manage on the phone, I love calling customer service in English because I'm like, I can do this. This is something like I hated it before, but now I like it.
Okay, juxtaposition to calling in Spanish customer service. That makes sense.
It's context. It's subjective.
It is. Whenever I'm in Norway and I need to figure stuff out, I feel like a god. I know how the system works. I understand what everyone's saying, every small nuance. I would compare it to carrying around a really heavy backpack all day, every day. And then every 6 months, you take it off for a few days. You feel like you're floating.
Yeah, that's a great comparison. But is that the first interaction that you felt that way, that you could just breathe and not care if the interaction went poorly?
With a person unknown, yeah, I think it is. Apart from waiters, obviously, at restaurants. Yeah.
Well, there's so much room for error in that interaction. So that's great that you...
It is, but...
felt good.
At the end, it's a physical object. If it has a flat tire, you can just pinch the tire and just shake it. And then you just show them like, hey, it's flat. Like, okay, enough about my bike adventure. Have you had any interesting experiences? Anything Spanish going on?
Yes. On Sunday, I went to the horse track. There's a horse track in Madrid.
Like betting?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
The word in Spanish is hipódromo.
That's the word for the place or for betting or game?
Hipódromo is the place, the horse track. So we got to the place and then we saw the horses. You can see them going around walking. And I was like, I have a good feeling about this one. So we went to the counter and I put €2 on this one horse. And
you can bet just €2? Is that the minimum?
€1 is the minimum.
I want to go there. Yeah.
And my horse won. We just showed up and my horse won first place. Really? And it was not a favorite. It was not expected. But
it was your favorite.
I won €40 from it.
Because the odds were low because it was not a favorite.
And well, if I would have bet more, I would have gotten more. But yeah, I felt really lucky after that. And then I bet a few more times and there's different races. So the next race, I lost.
So you're in deep debt now at the hippodromo?
No, I only bet like 2 and 3 euros at a time.
Okay.
So I came out on top, but then I realized that my boyfriend paid for us to get in. He paid 30 euros for us to get in. So I was like, So we actually did lose money, but it was fun. I highly recommend it.
Are they numbered, the horses?
Yeah.
So this was lucky number
10.
10. Lucky number 10.
Yep.
And the other horses, were they number 10 as well?
No.
You see, that's the logic. You won on 10, keep betting on 10.
No, but the next ones that won were not 10.
But you didn't bet on 10. So maybe if you did, the universe would have altered in your direction, you know? Haven't you seen Sliding Doors, the movie?
I've never seen that movie.
It's kind of a cult classic. Like, you don't see it on TV, but everyone around my age, and for anyone listening, I'm 37 and
Single.
I'm proud. Single. I'm very independent. I got a nice tan, if this is audio you're listening to. Green eyes as well. Every millennial knows that movie, at least every European. And I highly recommend watching that movie.
Well, I'm a millennial, but I'm not European, so...
Well, you're European in progress. Okay.
So we are going to start a segment, our first segment on this podcast, Word of the Week or Words of the Week. So what did you come up with for this week?
Okay. Circling back to our last podcast, the compañero that I have at ULab, the co-working space, who keeps beating expressions into my head. His name is Jorge. Shout out to Jorge. He taught me yesterday "y un huevo," which the equivalent in English, I think, would be like saying, no way. Like, let's say someone claims something and exaggerate and you don't believe them. You can say "y un huevo." And you can also say "ni de coña." Like, that means the same.
That's my favorite one of those.
Ni de coña. Do you say it aggressively? Ni de coña. Yeah.
Yes, you have to.
It was easy for me to think you would say it as a question, like a sarcastic question almost. But it's like, no, you say it like, no way. Like
statement.
Like semi-aggressively.
Yeah, that's a good one. Very useful.
Okay, your turn. Word, expression, hit me.
So my word is grano. And grano is, by the look on your face, it's not ringing a bell.
Come on. What does it mean? Grano.
So grano is grain.
Like a grain of salt?
Yeah, or rice, or so it can be grano de arroz, grano de sal. And it's also pimple, like the thing on your face.
Really?
I think sometimes people call it granito.
Hey, I've heard that before. I've heard granito before. Okay, so that's a pimple.
In what context did you hear it?
I don't know. I just heard people say it.
Well, now you know. So, but the expression that I thought of today was ir al grano. So,
what? Ir al grano?
Al grano, yes.
Okay.
Which means get to the point. But to say it to someone, like get to the point, you would say ve al grano.
Ve al grano. Like get to the point.
Or vamos al grano. Let's get to the point.
Vamos al grano. Vamos al grano. Okay, I will need to make a note of that.
I feel like it's very relevant for us in this podcast.
Maybe we should create a short highlight edit of each episode that's just called Ve al grano. Like,
I like that, yeah.
Also, Jorge, he informed me the expression I mentioned last time, curar. I talked about the context of work. Hay que curar. Like,
curar.
Curar. Or tengo mucho curo. I have a lot of work. But he also said, equally, if not more important, maybe, is curar alguien. Curar alguien. Like to hit someone. Slap them.
What?
Yeah.
Curar alguien.
Yeah. Don't make me doubt myself here. Like I was so sure. I'm gonna cheat. Hold on.
Where's he from?
Alguien. He's a Alicantino. Curar yes, curar a alguien. That means to hit someone.
It just means like punch them, or like in a joking way or a friendly way, or like actually punching someone.
From what I understood, it means like to beat someone up, like to hit someone. Yeah, like in English, you could say they beat him up together. In Spanish, it would be le curaron entre todos. Obviously, context is key for everything. Again, curar could mean to work. Voy a curar, like going to work. But le van a curar, that means they're going to beat him up.
I'm not sure about that.
Trust me, Mal, come on.
Well, the R's are difficult, so I try to avoid R's anytime I can.
Curar.
So that word is a big no-no for me.
Dude, here's a challenge. Just use curar from now. Whenever you talk about work for next week, curar.
Or fighting someone.
Or, yeah, whenever you get into a fight. Like when you throw yourself into the mosh pits of Madrid.
Well, thank you for giving us more context on that. So what are we talking about today?
So today we are talking about the weather. Okay.
Reporting live.
Reporting live. It's currently sunny and a blue sky. A bit more context. We're talking about weather during spring. Spring, in a lot of countries, can be a bit unpredictable here in Spain. You might start off the day with one outfit and then regret your life choices by the middle of the day.
I think that's fair to say.
Okay, I'll start with the first one. So, typical day for me, I go to the co-working space. I will walk my dog for 10 to 15 minutes around 7 a.m. Before I take her outside, I will just go on the balcony and just feel like how warm or cold is it? And then I dress accordingly. Right now, that's like pants, sweaters, jacket. Maybe a week ago, but now I'm dropping the jacket. So, that's a big question. Should I put on a jacket? Should I just have a t-shirt? Do I want to wear pants? Do I want to wear shorts? And here's the thing. I don't know if it's because I'm Norwegian, but I always overdress. I always put on too much clothes. Always. Still, to this day. Like, I don't know why I keep doing it, but I am just shit scared of being cold all the time. And so often I'm just sweating by the middle of the day. And I always want to stress that humidity matters. Like, that is the hardest thing to predict for me, because if I don't put on a jacket some days, I will be so cold. If I put on just a thin jacket, like a spring jacket, then I will be sweating all the sudden, because not only will I be hotter by putting on the jacket, but I'm also preventing the humidity from literally touching my skin.
Yeah.
So step one, obviously put on more clothes, but then you're also preventing the humidity from touching your skin. So ideally, I guess it would need to be like the thinnest fabric ever that will not provide you any heat at all, with the goal of just like bouncing the humidity off.
Yeah.
This is such a first world problem, but I think so often about this. So that's my spring struggle with how I dress.
Okay. I think we have two different approaches here, because just listening to your thought processes, my priorities are different. First of all, I don't have a good sense of a humid versus not humid. I'm just like, it's hot or it's not, you know?
But again, context, everyone listening, I live in Alicante. It's on the southeast coast of Spain. You live in Madrid, which is in the middle of the country.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have humidity in Madrid?
I'm not sure. I mean, not to say I've never experienced humidity, but my thing is that I just know if I'm uncomfortable or not. You know, I don't focus on
like not the reason for being uncomfortable, just uncomfortable or not.
Yeah, no? Like the temperature, it's hot. Like it's either hot or not. But I will say that the sun here is extremely hot. Coming from California, yes, it's the sun shines, but I feel like the sun shines hotter here.
So for anyone listening to the episode day, April 24th. California, it's hot now, you would say.
Yes, yes. I mean, depending on where there's mountains and there's different things, but
the cliche California that everyone thinks about, that's not that far from beach or LA or whatever.
Right. LA, yeah. LA is like 60s and 70s almost the whole year.
What's that in Celsius?
Probably between 16 and 18. It's
16 and 18? Okay. In
perfect.
Celsius.
But I came from San Francisco where the weather is not what everyone thinks. It's cold and windy, but it's the same the whole year. So you can just get away with wearing the same. Literally, you don't need to buy shorts. If you live in San Francisco, you are probably never going to wear a pair of shorts. And t-shirts, there's a few days out of the year where you would only wear a t-shirt. You're always with a jacket.
Wait, in San Francisco?
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't know that, but it's cold. There are heat waves where it gets between 22 and 24 Celsius.
Really? I thought it was a lot hotter. By the way, now chat gave me the answer. 16 degrees Celsius is 62 Fahrenheit.
My conversion was almost there.
Dude.
So I came from San Francisco where the weather was it was great, For me it was fine. I don't like being hot or cold.
A good in between, like comfortable.
Yeah, right. It was always a little bit windy, but usually sunny, and you did not have to change your wardrobe the entire year. So with that being said, I came here, and the sun, when you step into the sun, it just burns you. Like I feel my skin burning.
Mm-hmm. But did you used to use protection? Did you put on any kind of sunscreen in California?
Yes.
Okay, so you're
because I thought the UV index was high there, but then I came here
and it was like peanuts compared.
And sunblock is not enough. You just have to avoid the sun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any sunblock strong enough to block the rays of Spain.
They're just too strong.
It's hot.
Here.
And so that's my thing. I don't like getting dark. I don't like getting tan.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's bad for your skin cancer and all that. So I suffer here when it is sunny, which is a majority of the time.
So you avoid the sun. Is that safe to say?
Yes. And I also am like you. I try to cover my skin, but just for the sun protection part of it. So I have windbreakers, we call them. Really thin material. Even if it's hot, I just try to wear something over my skin. Hats, which not a lot of people here wear hats.
I have a theory about hats. Only people on vacation wear hats, at least the latest. Doesn't matter where they're from, doesn't matter where they are. You will wear hats on vacation, but not at home. The same as you would wear different dresses out traveling than you would at home.
You mean in terms of Spain, or you're just talking in general?
In general. Like, that's my observation, especially Norwegians. But I feel it's so universal. Here in Spain, as you said, like the majority of people wearing hats are foreigners. Don't get me wrong, like I have a couple of friends who are from here who actually uses hats for the protection. Like it just like when the sun gets too strong. But in terms of style and fashion, it's such a vacation vibe.
And when you're on vacation, you're out exploring and you don't know if you're going to have shade. So you have to make your own shade.
That is true. That is true. Especially if you're bald. Like you need to be careful.
Right. That's interesting to hear how you manage your clothes. I just try to stay covered all the time.
Just to quickly recap, you use sunblock every day? Like you all year round here in Spain?
On my face, yes.
I don't. I probably should. From spring onward, I've started using it now because I get a tan really quickly and I get burned really quickly as well. Mm-hmm. One note about that, when I came to Spain, obviously as a tourist before I moved here and like the first few weeks when I was here, the idea coming from Norway, a cold country with not a lot of sun, your instinct is to seek out the sun. It's to almost cremate yourself wherever you can find some sun rays. And you quickly realize that there's a reason why all the Spaniards are standing on the shadow side of the street. You just adapt quickly. You just start avoiding the sun because you're going to get hit by the sun anyways.
What made you realize? Just the fact that you were extremely hot?
Yeah, you're uncomfortable. As you said, I'm not comfortable. I want to be comfortable.
But if you're at the beach, you can just jump in the water.
Yeah, but you need to like be constantly diving if you don't want the sun to hit your head. So then you have parasol. What do you call that in English? I forgot the word.
Umbrella?
Well, yeah, but for the beach, what do you call that?
A beach umbrella.
No, come on. There's got to be a word for it.
No, it's umbrella. Yeah, umbrella.
Dude, it took me several years to learn that umbrella. Paragua, para agua, like for water, and parasol for the sun. Took me years to figure that out. But
yeah, Spanish has a lot of those.
so yeah, okay, we have opinions about how we dress during spring.
Do you have any funny stories about choosing the wrong outfit?
I don't. Just like I dressed wrong, it was inconvenient and I was sweating. That's the
You don't
punchline.
layer?
I'm bad at layering. I was bad at layering in Norway as well. It was so convenient. Just, okay, you're cold, put on a gigantic puffy jacket.
The biggest thing you can find.
Yeah. You're hot, open it up. So now I'm not good at layering.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm a tad better at layering here, but just nothing complicated. So you layer. You're good at layering.
Yes, I layer in my day-to-day and on vacation. Vacation, you definitely have to think and layer well because you don't know, you're out, you're exploring.
Yeah, and you're gonna carry your stuff around. Okay, a day out, even if you're in your home city, makes sense to layer as well. I will say when it comes to sweaters, I will think about where do I store this? When or if it gets too hot? Do I have enough space in my backpack? Or is this a jacket that's comfortable to just hold like this? Or like how can I tie it around myself? So
Yeah.
it's there in the back of my mind. Maybe I think about layering more than I realized.
Sounds like maybe you do.
Maybe I do.
Well, going back to something you said earlier, when you wake up in the morning, you trust what you feel in the morning to dress for your entire day.
Let's say Monday morning, t-shirt, sweater, and then go out. I regret it. Too hot, didn't use the sweater. If I wake up the next day and it feels like the exact same temperature, even though my body says put on a sweater, I will be like, no, I remember yesterday and it feels like the same. I will not make the same mistake twice.
Okay. Wow. That's a good instinct.
If I'm not too sleepy. But yeah.
I feel like you can do that here because it's so predictable.
It's fairly predictable. I have a backpack here that I would never, ever, ever, ever leave the house with in Norway because the second main pocket, it's basically a pouch that you just tighten the opening of, but you can't close it.
Okay.
So you quote unquote close it, but rain will just fall straight down into it. So if I know it's going to rain one day, I can't put anything in that pocket. And additionally, I will use a paragua umbrella to cover my backpack.
Just for the backpack.
Well, as a result, it will also cover my head. But yeah, mainly just like, please don't rain into my backpack. I would never, ever buy that backpack in Norway. But here, it was cheap. And I love the design of it. And I thought, it doesn't rain that often. I can use it here.
It sounds like a horrible idea. Let's see a photo of that.
Hey, I will send you a photo and you will see that's a nice backpack.
Okay. I'll have to be the judge of that. Does it rain a lot in Norway? Is that what you're trying to say?
Oh God, you have no idea. It rains so much. And I'm from the north. It rains a good amount there. But if you go to the western part of Norway, to a city called Bergen, maybe it's one of the most rainy cities in Europe. Maybe even the world. I'm not sure. I remember 3-4 years ago, I was on a Tinder date and she was really passionate about where it rained the most, like looking up the data on what place it rained the most. And she was talking about that place in, I don't know, New Zealand or something. Well, could easily have been, but no, I think this was New Zealand. And she's like, no, I think this is the most rainy city in the world, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, you can Google what is the most rainiest place, but I guess it was like a game for her to just like discover by herself.
Yeah. Sure.
And then I said, you gotta look up Bergen. And she just eyes wide open told me, dude, this is the rainiest place I've seen. So we have rain.
But not the rainiest.
Oh, I'm so tempted to Google now, but maybe I don't want the answer. Maybe I just want to live with the idea of Norway
The
has to.
mystery.
Yeah, like sometimes ignorance is bliss.
The last month of our time here in Spain has been rainy a lot, and I was in a bad mood, I will admit.
It affects me, the weather, absolutely. Rain and the amount of hours of daylight heavily affects me. Again, climate matters. Big reason why I came here to Spain.
So Spain has a lot of daylight compared to other places. Does Norway have times where it's sun all day?
I think if you go on an island called Svalbard, pretty big, pretty far north, if you go there in June, July, it's daylight always. Where I grew up in the northern parts of Norway, mainland, but not the furthest north, on the brightest months of the year, I, as a kid, would see the sun disappear behind the mountains, but it wouldn't dip below the horizon. So there will always be light. You would just kind of follow the sun rays, like, okay, it's behind that mountain now. 6 o'clock, I guess it will be behind that mountain. So yeah, it's not dark at night. It's just light. And I haven't experienced the midnight sun in quite a few years now. Let's see, I'm going up there in July. Oh my god, I think I get to experience it this year. I need to
You
check
sound
the
so
date.
excited.
Yeah, because dude, the experience, I remember this as a teenager, biking at 6 a.m., something like that, during summer vacation. And it's something about having the light from a different angle than what you're used to. It feels like Twilight Zone. It feels like upside down world. It feels like looking in a mirror that doesn't flip the image of you.
Yeah.
It's the same, but it's different, and it feels off.
And you like that feeling?
Yes, makes me feel alive. So you haven't experienced that? Midnight
No.
sun?
No, but I'm going to Alaska in August, and I don't know that it will be that way when I'm there, but I was hoping that there would be some night and day.
Does Alaska have midnight sun?
I think it does.
Yep, Alaska absolutely gets the midnight sun, especially in the far north, because it's above the Arctic Circle. It stays light almost all night, June 20th, 21st.
Like when it becomes summer officially.
You're going there in August, you will get a lot of light as
Daylight,
well.
yeah.
Another memory from when I was a kid, going down to the capital, the south of Norway, visiting cousins of mine. It was so exotic for me that it was dark during night. Like being there in July and it was dark, I was like, this is weird.
And so did you like it? So you just like being caught off guard.
I just like change. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, not as expected. I guess that speaks to me being somewhat adventurous, living abroad. It's like, okay, we like routines and all of that, but let's go this way and see what happens here.
Yeah.
And yeah, you heard me, the excitement now, going back to Norway, getting to experience midnight sun this summer.
You're excited.
I'm excited, yeah.
Do you guys have persianas there?
We do. But I do remember as a kid having not thick enough curtains. It's just light in your room.
That would drive me crazy.
But you adapt. That's it.
Yeah.
Gives you an excuse to stay up all night playing video games as well. So how do we round off this episode, Mal?
Let's end this episode by giving one piece of advice to someone visiting Spain in the month of April.
Yes, I have advice. Wow,
ahead.
dude, we didn't even okay, I sorry, but one last extra topic we should. When you see tourists, how do they dress now compared to locals? Plaza del Sol in Madrid, for example.
Very little.
Give me an example.
I think you can spot people on vacation because they're wearing a hat, but also short sleeves. You don't see a coat, and then shorts. They're dressing like it's summer and it's not. But the sun is hot enough to be summer. So I guess that's the difference.
Compared to where a lot of them are coming from, probably. I get it. I get it 100%. Why wouldn't you undress, try to get some tan?
But you can tell that they're tourists by their outfit.
Their outfit, yes, 100%. You spot them a mile away with the lack of clothes.
Yeah, yeah.
No shame. Well, a
Right.
little
I was
bit,
gonna
but
say. I can't hate on these people because I'm just like,
yeah,
but I just live here and pay taxes. So
yeah, exactly.
I'm a long-term tourist.
Long-term tourist. Yeah.
So what's your piece of advice?
My piece of advice is one, put on sunscreen. Second, it's okay to bring an extra jacket. Like, you don't have to be brave. I know the sun is there, but it's okay to dress
But it's
accordingly.
heavy and annoying.
Well, bring something light and
A light jacket.
Yeah, a spring jacket. That's it. Like, if you want to be cool, blend in with the locals, bring a spring jacket and some long pants.
I think most people just don't care about blending in or not looking like a tourist.
Maybe that speaks more to me actually than the average tourist coming here. Me wanting to blend in.
I'm the same. I want to look like a local as much as possible wherever I go.
I want to be accepted. When I'm accepted, then I want to be a foreigner again, just to be special. How about you? Advice for the foreigners, for the tourists in spring?
My advice is to find the shadows and walk on the shadow side of the street, because you will get burnt and you will be red and then you will look like a tourist. Everyone will know you're not from here.
Dude, applause. That is much better advice than what I came with. Like the typical wife beater tan.
It's not cute.
It's not charming. Please don't do it.
Or the sunglasses when their face is
It's too cute. They
Yeah,
have like
yeah.
the big stripes on the side. Yeah, please. Like, again, we're not shaming, but please don't do it.
Find the shade.
Find the
Yeah.
shade. Should we just say adios?
No, we need to plug. As Tony said earlier, if you love your mother, please subscribe.
All mother lovers, please subscribe, like, comment. Criticism is welcome, but I will criticize you right back.
Share it. Share this episode with someone.
Print the transcription, paste it on light poles, transfer it to a cassette, give it to your grandma.
We would appreciate it.
Highly. Thank you. Gracias a todos. Adios.
Adios.